Hello and welcome to another episode of Travel Talk. We have with us a very special guest, UNWTO Secretary General, Mr. Talib Rafai. Hello, sir. Welcome on the show.
Thank you so
Good
much.
to have you on Travel Talk.
Here. Very happy to be here.
2013 and 2013, record years for tourism globally. What's in store for 2015? What's your
The
perspective?
same pattern of growth, maybe a little bit more modest, but the same trend that started after 2010, with an average growth of 5% every year since 2010.
Right.
Last year was 4.7%. We are, however, predicting between 3 and 4% for 2015, which is a conservative estimate.
Right.
But the same trend of bullish growth, in spite of economic uneven recovery, will continue.
Right. Oil prices are down, some economies are down as well, particularly Russia, Latin America, for example, Venezuela. Will this impact the prospects of tourism this year?
In general, this has a positive impact on travel,
Right.
because it reduces the direct costs of travel, particularly air transportation, but all forms of transportation.
Right.
It reduces the cost of energy, which is essential in any travel activity. And it creates a better competitive environment, and the companies will start competing with each other on better offers.
Right.
So in general, it makes travel more affordable, which is good. But however, I must caution that it does have some side effects, especially on source markets that are producing energy,
Right.
where the economic situation becomes affected by that. And one has to take into account that this is a side effect that we have to live with, especially some of the big markets, like the Russian market, some of the Gulf markets.
Right.
But overall, I see the trend on the positive side.
Right. What are the challenges for travel and tourism industry going forward?
Well, the overall long-term challenge will remain to be sustainability and responsibility. The tremendous growth of this industry faces upon our shoulders a great responsibility towards people and planet. With 1.1 billion international travelers, tourists crossing borders in one single year, and the trend likely to continue at least up until 2030, where we're estimating 1.8 billion. This is no ordinary human activity. This is tremendous. It could be 1 billion opportunities or 1 billion disasters.
Right.
The challenge is how to make it a force for good, how to ensure that we become ambassadors for better conditions for human beings and better environment in the place that we live in. That's the major challenge.
Right.
But on a mundane level, there are direct challenges that are more practical, more short-term, and more immediate as such. Travel facilitation, for example, making travel easier for people, making destinations more connected, especially air connectivity, is a major challenge. Seasonality is a challenge. Accessibility for handicaps. We're denying ourselves almost 1 billion international travelers that are not able to travel because of some kind of inability or another. These are direct challenges, but this is what we do every day to try and find solutions, imaginative solutions for these challenges.
Right. This crisis in the Middle East, war, turbulent situation, violent, confrontations and terrorism issues, is this impacting the tourism potential of some of the destinations there, and also being a source market, especially the Gulf countries? Will this impact the tourism from that region to other destinations globally?
Well, instability always affects tourism. Tourism cannot survive without some kind of stability and a minimum level of security. But as far as the outbound market, if that's what you're referring to, no, to the contrary. The outbound market from the Middle East is still a very active market, and many destinations around the world are seeking the Middle Eastern market. Now, it did affect the inbound market in some tourism, in some Middle Eastern destinations that are directly affected by the events. But I have to say two things in this regard. Number one is the overall scene in the Middle East is not a negative one. The Middle East grew in 2014 by 4%, which is due to the rise in some of the intake of many destinations, the Gulf destinations, Morocco, even Egypt and Tunisia. They came back to their original rates. They recovered very quickly. So the overall scene, one balances the other, is not a very negative scene. The second point is that there is an incredible resilience in the tourism industry, and it's manifested in the Middle East in particular. Look at Egypt. I mean, it's incredible how much Egypt was able to come back And every time there is a little snitch here and there, change just takes a few weeks or a few months and it comes back. So both the ability to balance each other and the quality of resilience are contributing to a not so negative scene in the Middle East.
Now, related to this, I would jump to a question with regards to visa facilitation. You know, there are a lot of restrictions on Middle Eastern travelers from the Gulf and from other Middle Eastern markets. Is this going to ease out? Do you see any efforts being made by UNWTO in particular to help that process?
Yes. In the last 3 to 4 years, we've been working very hard on this. And our way of working was raising awareness, which is based on data, research, and hard facts. The situation is still not one that is desirable. It's still one that is not worthy of travel and human activity in the 21st century. Today we have 62-63% of the world population still needing visas prior to their travel, stamped on their passport by a consulate, who sometimes have to undergo so many complicated bureaucracies to travel from one place to another. 2/3 of the world population. Now the good news is that this rate was almost 72-73% only 5 years ago. So there is an improvement, but it's not yet enough. And we will continue to do the work because it is not logical in the 21st century where we have all these technological means. And we know security is important. Security is important for tourism as well. I mean, tourism cannot survive without security, so we're very concerned. But we believe that security on the one hand and friendliness and ease of travel on the other hand are not a zero-sum game. They're not at odds. We can make travel definitely more secure because we have to make it more secure, but friendlier and easier. And technology is not being utilized yet to the fullest.
The buzzword is ease and accessibility.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're working hard to try and educate, create awareness, provide shared experiences. There are many good experiences all over the world that we can even state here. And make travel a bit easier because we're denying ourselves benefits due to our doings, not due to any external factors.
UNWTO takes a lot of pride in sustainable tourism development initiatives. If you could highlight some of these initiatives, especially in underdeveloped markets like Africa, Southeast Asia, for example.
You know, our raison d'etre, we are there because we are promoters of sustainable tourism. I mean, of course, we take pride in the industry growing and flourishing. But what kind of growth is the more important? As a United Nations specialized agency, our main objective is to ensure that tourism is turned, as I said before, into a force for good, for people and planet. With regard to some specific examples in Africa, we're now very much engaged in a very important campaign and work on raising awareness with regard to wildlife and the protection of wildlife. 2 days ago we celebrated the World Wildlife Day. You know, Africa is basing its future in tourism and its future altogether on the wonderful assets that it has, whether it's fauna, flora, and all the natural assets that it has. If we do not protect them, if we submit and surrender to the forces of darkness that are trying to destroy that and exploit it for commercial reasons that are very short-term and very short-sighted, we're destroying the future of communities, of people, and of the assets of that country. This is one of the major things. But of course, sustainability also extends itself to the environment, to the people, children, exploitation of children, the environmental responsibility, carbon footprints, and all of these issues are at
and the benefits of the tourism going down to the communities.
That's part. Sustainability is defined in 3 bottom lines by the United Nations: social, jobs, economic benefits, and environmental. Not only the environment.
Absolutely. Do you cite any particular best case studies of countries who have adopted this strategy?
Oh, there are many. It depends what we're talking about. If we're talking about the environment, there are many good places. Costa Rica, for example, but it's not just the country, it's the destinations and the enterprises. Some hotels, some destinations, some tour operators, some airlines.
Right.
So I wouldn't want to go into any selective choosing of any one of them, but
Right.
it depends on what kind of sustainability we're talking about, social, economic, or
Right.
environmental, and what particular example we're talking about.
Right. No, I'm talking about the economic development, for example, job creations, preservation of environment.
Well, I'll give you an
as well as,
example.
yeah.
2 countries in the last 2 years have graduated from being least developed countries, from LDC into becoming into a higher category of income because of tourism.
Okay.
Maldives and the Cape Verde.
All right.
Cape Verde. It's because the people and the individuals have benefited from tourism,
Right.
and the benefits of tourism has disseminated itself on a wider base of population.
Fantastic. Would you highlight the role of media could play in tourism development and its growth?
Well, here we are talking, and it's the best example of how you help us in raising awareness. It's very important that the world understands how important tourism is, how impactful it has become, how big the responsibility it is to deal with it correctly. So I would sincerely hope that media would focus more on connecting sustainability and development to tourism, and start to see tourism not just as a business enterprise, which it is, but as a development tool, which it should be, and it is now affecting many, many people around the world.
Mr. Talib Rufai, you've traveled all over the world. You've been a very passionate traveler. Would you like to share some of your experiences, interesting experiences over the years?
I'm passionate about the world of travel altogether.
Right.
I've visited almost every country under the sun.
Right.
The only thing I can say is when you travel, you become a better person.
Right.
You understand yourself, you understand the world, you open your mind, you respect other people.
Right.
So travel, be a better person,
Right.
and let's make this world a better place.
Wonderful. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show, Mr.
Thank you
Talib
so
Rufai.
much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.